Hi, Charlene here with Moonlight Gardens. It's a beautiful sunny afternoon, and if this sunshine doesn't make you want to get out and play in the dirt, I don't know what will. Gardening season is upon us now. So I thought real quick today, for those that you maybe are amateur and have not really planted some of the early things, that I would do kind of a step-to-step on a few early vegetables that can be put in the ground now. We got the garden rototilled, so I'm going to just kind of rake some of this real quick just to smooth it out. It's not too bad. Okay, first of all, I want to go through potato planting. So these are seed potatoes. They are different than the ones that you buy in the store because the ones you buy in the store have a prohibitor so that they don't sprout. These have not been treated. So we have several different kinds. This is a white one, Yukon Gold, and a red one. Now, if you notice on the seed potato, we have what they call eyes. There's one, here. And cut these in pieces so that every piece that you have is about this big of a chunk, and it must have an eye or it's not going to grow. You can determine how many plants that you'd like to have as to how many potatoes that you might need to buy. Each one of these pieces will produce about a pound or more of potatoes. I rob mine early, and I could explain that to you a little bit later, so I tend to think that they produce more than a pound. They're going to be put a foot apart, so then you can determine what space that you have in your garden and how much that you want to designate just for potatoes. You'll put these about 2 to 2.5 to 3 foot in rows apart and a foot apart in the row. So a 6-foot row, you're going to have 6 pieces. You're going to need 1 potato. Will that feed your family? That's totally up to how many potatoes that you eat. Potatoes. What I would recommend that you do, this is freshly cut. So I would suggest you cut the night before that you want to plant these. It allows, or even a couple of days, it allows for this to heal over so that it wards off diseases. So we'll dig our trench. We have our ground rototilled. You're going to dig a trench about 3 inches deep. The potatoes, you don't have to make sure that the eye is up. You just plant them. Here's a red one. Put them about a foot apart. What I like to do, because sometimes I have grubs that come in and will eat a hole in the tuber of the potato. This is called 8. It is an insect granular that keeps those from coming the grubs. So I just sprinkle a little bit right down the row in with the potatoes. Then you'll cover them up. You'll want a stick right at the beginning, very fat stick, but so you know where your row is at. I don't particularly like to weed, so you can come in with Treflan granulars, which is what the active ingredient of preen is, and go right over the top. In addition to that, I will actually put some mulch like straw. When the potatoes start coming up, you'll want to come through and actually even heal this even more as the potatoes come through. I like the straw because the potatoes actually grow very close to the surface, and the straw will shield that from the wind, the sun. Otherwise you get green potatoes, and you don't want green potatoes. It's poisonous. You cut that off of there, but the straw kind of keeps the potatoes, especially when the vines start dying down, it keeps the potatoes from the sun from turning green. when I talked about robbing, you can harvest potatoes in one of two ways. You can dig the whole plant up and you get what you get. What I like to do is I have a 3 or 4 prong, very hard hand rake that I'll go through and just start finding the little tubers and rob those little new potatoes. And I do that until we're tired of eating new potatoes, let the vines go, and at the end of the season I've still got great big tubers. So it's kind of a neat way of doing it without having to dig all the potatoes and then you don't have any more left. Okay, I'm going to real quick talk about lettuce, and spinach will be kind of the same thing. So we're going to put lettuce here in this corner right here. I like to smooth it out real good. Lettuce seed is somewhat small. And lettuce has to have light to germinate, so I literally just scatter it right over the top like that, and it's gone. And you can kind of go a little bit like that, and there's my lettuce. Radishes are basically the same thing.
I like the tractor. I like the tractor. I like the tractor piece.
She's our farmer girl. She likes to ride Papa's tractor. Okay, so here's some radish seed. And I pretty much do it the same way. You don't have to put your garden in rows if you're sprinkling it. The only row that you need is the one that you need to walk on. Otherwise, utilize all the space. I don't need a row between my radishes and my lettuce. Utilize all that space. So just kind of sprinkle your radish out. And here I do give it kind of a little shuffle of the soil. You do want the soil to adhere to the seed, and that's what that will do. Again, for your radish, not so much your lettuce, I will take the preen right over my radish, because preen is a pre-emergent, which keeps weeds from coming up. Radishes are immune to that. They will come right up through your trefland. So I'll put that right over my radishes. I put this right over beans, the radishes, probably some others I can't think of right now. Then we'll go through, and it has kind of a leafy little wand here, but I like this because this fan is a gentle spray. So I will just water this. Do not water this for an hour. You'll just compact your soil. So just water it a little bit, and you're going to want to water this probably 3 times a day until they start coming up. And then you can water it a little less often, a little more. Your potatoes, they're a little bit different. You can water them a little bit more initially. I think that's it that I wanted to discuss for today. So happy gardening, early spring, lettuce, radishes, your spinach will be the same as your lettuce, and your potatoes will come up when the ground temperature is 42, 44, and the ground temperature is a little bit warmer than that. So it's time to get the early vegetables planted. Happy gardening! It's here!